Hey Craftiana, so today I'll be showing you how to customize this wine glass. It's all white with like nice pink trim. It says Survivor on the back. It's representing breast cancer awareness. It has two ribbons at the bottom. So I'm going to show you how I made this. It's pretty simple. So also be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. It helps me a lot. Follow me on all my social medias at Brand So Crafty, Facebook, TikTok, and Instagram. So let's get right into it. Crafty, okay, let's get right into it. I'm working on this breast cancer awareness themed wine glass, and I was taking a while to figure out what I do. I got some electrical tape, and we just about to do a little wrap around. Okay, Craftiana, we gonna take it from the back. Actually, let me start this way. Let me pull out a nice long strip. I'm gonna get this. I want it kind of high, but not too high. And I'm just gonna bring that down both this way and just let that naturally see where that I want to place at. Make sure I keep my tape as straight as possible and seeing where that I want to cross at. Okay, do I like that point? Let me see. I'm gonna cut that little excess off. Make sure that's laid down. Do I like that? Yes, I do. Will I be able to retape that off? It's also another question we must ask ourselves. Okay, Craftiana, you need to be able to retape this off when you go to epoxy it. So I'm taping that off. I'm about to cut off these little excess right here where this crosses. Wham, slice that off. Keep that point straight. Wham. Uh-oh, don't be like me. Hold on. Uh-oh, don't cut yourself either. Uh-oh, what am I doing? Raggedy and jaggedy. We don't want no raggedy and jaggedy lines. That's going to be trifling. And I don't need no trifling activity, okay? Bam. So here's our tape off. You see it good and taped off with some electrical tape. Bam. Hold on. Be right back. I'm going to show you how I'm about to take the rest of this off because I'm going to spray paint it. So I got that good and taped off, but I'm going to block this off because I don't want no paint get up on here. So I need to block that off with this painter's tape that I'm using. This is a thick painter's tape. I don't know the exact size, so I'm just going to take this, making sure I stay in the confines of this black tape. I don't want it on the outside of this tape because that's not where I want any paint. I just don't want no paint in this area. I paint this, everything else, okay? And make sure it's fully covered and concealed, okay? All these little spots like that, it needs to be covered. We don't want to miss nothing. And make sure it's pressed down good. And make sure that gets up any little extra spots. Craftiana, for real, for real. Because if it's outside your tape line, then you're going to have a little bald head spot right there. And we don't want a little bald head spot up on our wine glass. Oops. Oopsie daisy. And I'm going to take this one big old long piece. And I'm just going to wrap this all the way around. I'll come back to that section because I don't want my foam to get dirty either. My foam. Bam. You know, it's a little raggedy bootleg tape job, but you do what you do. Use what you got to get what you want. Was there a more effective way to tape this off with using less tape? Probably. Did I do it like that? No, ma'am. Okay. So everything is looking good and how I want it. So we're going to go outside and spray paint. Hold on. Let me show you what spray paint I'm using. I'm using this Rust-Oleum 2x clear white. I'm only spray painting this as a base paint because I'm using white glitter. So I need a good white base and foundation under this. If I use regular acrylic paint, that white will show through that glass and it won't be as smooth. So I want a nice inside too. So I'll be back after that's good and spray painted. I went outside and spray painted. It's fully dry, and I did a horrible spray paint job. I mean, my spray paint was clogged, but that's my fault. I didn't shake it, and I didn't do no test spray beforehand. But I just went directly into spraying on this glass. But let's take this paint off real quick, okay? I mean, this tape off. I said this tape off real quick. Let's pull this off and expose. Let's expose this glass and our V that we originally taped off. So we should have clean lines. Even though I did use electrical tape for this, I think it might have lifted a little bit, but it'll be alright because we're gonna put a rhinestone trim over that anyway. But anywho, it's still clean. I got a little paint right. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. That's how that good and looks, Craftiana. I do got a little paint right here, but I can wipe that up later. I'm not worried about that. That'll scratch off, or I'll wipe it with some alcohol and acetone. So let's go in with our Mod Podge and do our first coat of glitter. I got it in this little squeeze bottle. I'm using this white glitter I got from Moscow Towns and downtown LA before they closed down. Real irritating. So we about to make it do what it do. We're gonna do a bunch of coats of glitter on this because, you know, this is white. I know it's a white base and it's gonna dry real quick. So I got to move fast. I really gotta move fast. I might do this in sections, to be honest, because I need, you want to make sure you want to stay in the confines of these lines. As you can see, I got a big old glob of glitter right there on that edge, and I don't want that. So I'm trying to be careful. And I'm going to do the stem last. I am. Let me get this portion done, please. I don't want that to glob over. Okay. Because this is going to dry really, really quick. Really, really, really quick. And it's hard to see white on white. White glue on white spray paint on white glitter. Whew, pray for me. Okay. Come on. Don't want to do too much glue where it's spreading all over the place and you got lumps and stuff. We don't want that. But you want to make sure you get all the way up to this line. Make sure you get all the way up to that line, girl. So I'm spreading as possible, and I'm trying to make sure I stay neat. And it's hard to see what I'm doing and where I'm at, but we getting there. We getting there. We getting there. We getting there. See, I don't want that outside of my glass. We could clean that glass later. Don't worry about that. But them lines, we need crisp lines. We can clean the glass later. It'll be all right. Okay. I feel like I'm at a good spot. Let's dump some glitter. I'm sorry, I put that little paintbrush in my mouth. Ooh. As you can see, one coat on that part. She looks decent-ish. I need a paintbrush. I mean, a makeup brush. I could have grabbed a bigger one, but we do what we gotta do. Get that off of here. Knock some of that excess off. And let's move on to this part. Okay, we moving quick. And don't worry, we will be doing more than one coat, so it will look better. And we will have better coverage. But this first coat is just to get something down and give this glitter that's something to stick to. I mean, it's glue something to stick to. And be careful, don't rub over where you already just freshly glittered, because you can rub all that off with that next coat of glue because it ain't dry yet. So we want to be careful. And I like to do my little edges. I used to didn't like to do this little part, but I like to do my little edges now. It looks better. It looks a lot better and a lot cleaner. So make sure you get all of that too, and make sure all that is well glittered. Okay, I think everything is covered. I hope so. If not, we will be coming back again with another coat of glitter. So, wham. Scoop if I ain't got enough. Scoop. Make sure I hit all that undercarriage under here. And wham. I'm going to dust some of this excess off because it don't need to be there. Voila, ta-da. Watch out now. Tap the bottom of the wine glass to get any of that off. And you really don't need to dust this excess off. I just like to see my vision. Okay, here's the first coat. And we'll be back when it's time to do a second. So I did 3 coats of glitter on this. Now she's ready for epoxy. She's fully dry, fully coated. So we're going to take our first step. We're going to take that electrical tape that we originally taped that off with. And we're just going to tape this off before we epoxy. Now I do have more in-depth videos on my page of how I do more than one coat of glitter. So if you need that, you can go ahead and check that out. But I did build this to up 3. So I'm following this curve that I originally placed down with this electrical tape. And I'm just leaving a tiny gap between the tape and the edge of that glitter so I could get a good seal of this epoxy, and so I don't have this epoxy on all over this wine glass when I go to spread it on here either. Okay, we need that glass nice and epoxy free and clean. We don't want no messy look. That's tacky to me. I don't like that. So this is just what I do to prevent that epoxy getting everywhere, and making sure you just leave a thin sliver of a gap so it just seals it really good and properly. And try to not disturb your glitter and scratch it up, because we don't want no scratches in our first paint either. So this, I like electrical tape because, as you can see, it's flexible and it's moving with the curves of this wine glass, so I can follow this shape. So I'm making sure I get that gap. And we also going to do a rhinestone trim over here, so I'm just going to cut this right here at this little point and edge and lay that down. Bam. Now I'm about to take my little measuring cup and I'm gonna mix up some part A and B of the Flynn Sisters Fast Set epoxy. So I'll be back when I got that good and mixed up. So I got this good and mixed together. It's 20 parts of epoxy total. Is, remember, this is a fast set. Every epoxy is different, so know what you're using. I don't have that much work time, so I have to move pretty quick. I'm sorry if I sound muffled or something, but I have a mask on and I recommend you wear one too. So I'm just going to dump some of this epoxy right on here. I'm just going to spread and glide this around, and I'm making sure I stay in the confines of this tape, because I don't want epoxy all over this wine glass. I want it right on top of this glitter only, and I don't want it to get anywhere else. Okay, and make sure you get them edges nice and good, because we need those fully coated and covered. So I am using the Flynn Sisters Fast Set again. So I'm going to be removing my tape instantly, because this is a fast set and I don't want this to get stuck to this. And I let this spin for a good 2.5 hours before taking it off or recoating it, either or, whatever I decide to do. Well, I know I'm going to be coating it. I'll probably do at least 3 coats of this, 2, then put my decals on, and then another final coat, something like that. We'll see. We just have to work with and see until it's smooth. So you want to make sure you get all these edges on this stem, and you want to see, I don't know if you can see this, but it tends to pull up at the bottom of the stem, at the base of the stem. So I like to drag that out and take it right to the edge, so I can make sure them edges is really coated, and put the excess back at the top, because we don't want no big bulk of epoxy down here at that bottom. That ain't cute. That is not cute, Craftiana. So I'm making sure everything gets coated and everything gets covered, especially these bottom edges at this base of this wine glass. Okay. See, I done missed some spots. Making sure I take it all the way around. Make sure I get here, and make sure you get under here, under this bulb part. That's seeing where I see a lot of people miss. I felt the dry patch right there, but you also don't want that to bulk it up and cake up either, because you'll have a lopsided wine glass, and that ain't cute. Trust me. Ask me how I know. I done did them before. So I'm making sure I get all that at that edge, taking any of that excess epoxy off, because I don't want no big old lump, but I do want this nice and covered and smooth. Now I do like to take mine at the bottom and just spread it thin at the bottom, so I can have that undercarriage covered too. That's just my personal preference of how I like to epoxy. Okay, I'll be right back when I got this finished covered. I got that fully covered. I'm taking my good old torch, a butane torch, and I'm about to light this baby up. I'm keeping this fire moving up on this epoxy. You don't want to let it sit still in one space, and you don't want to touch it like I just accidentally did. But I'm popping all the micro bubbles and getting that out. Ooh. So I just let it, give it a little torch. You don't want to burn your epoxy. So I'm going to give it one more good little torch. And be careful, okay? I got it a little too hot. And now we're going to pull this tape off immediately. But if I wasn't using a fast set, I would not be pulling this tape off right now. So I'm going to try to find this in real quick while it's on my turner. You don't want that epoxy on your hand. So now that that's good in epoxy, we're gonna let that spin for about a good 2.5 hours per the epoxy that I'm using, and we'll be back when it's time to add our decals. Okay, this is after 2 coats of epoxy. We're fully smooth. Don't worry about that. I'll wipe this up after. Just don't get no epoxy right there. So it's smooth, fully smooth, ready for decals. And then we're going to add 1 or 2 more layers of epoxy. Now, I cut out these decals with my Cricut and Cricut Design Space. I just typed in Survivor ribbon. And these the 3 that I cut out. I don't know which one I want to pick. So I'm about to line this up on the back and see if I like that one. I don't think I like that one right there. I don't think I like that right there either. I think I'm going to just put the word Survivor back here. I think this is what I'm going to go for. And I think I'll put one of these down here. Yeah, let's get some transfer tape out. So, got my handy dandy transfer tape. This is the transfer tape from Tape Man Blue. I like this one. It should be linked in my bio, in my description box, in my Amazon storefront. You can go ahead and check that out if you want it. Miss Crafty Anna. Okay. Ugh. And now I do come in a big old roll. And I'm just going to place this on the back of here like this, like so, like that. Where's some scissors? We're going to slice this little piece out just to take what I need. Be careful, don't cut yourself. Make sure it's covering all that you need it to cover, because I'm a little off. Oop, I done knocked my camera down. Be careful, don't be like Brinks, okay? Because I'm accident pro. I'm gonna varnish this, whatever, real good. Okay, I'm making sure I rub it up that down really well. So I'm just rubbing. And I'm just gonna flip this good and on over. We're gonna carefully make sure that's stuck to our transfer tape. And it's all on there. Come on off. So I want this back here like this. I want to kind of center it with that big old part. I'm going to put that just like that. I like that. I don't want it to be overbearing. I didn't want nothing too big or nothing too gaudy, to be honest. So I'm just going to rub that on there really well. And we're just going to pull that transfer tape off if I can get it. We're going to pull that off, and that's how that looks. I like that a lot. Ooh. Then I'm just going to put one of these smaller ribbons. I'm going to put that down here at the bottom. Make sure I just varnish that real quick and get that good and on there. I need all the pieces. I want that on here somewhere like this. It might be a little big, but it'll be all right. I'm going to put that right there. And I want one on the other side as well. I'm not really putting in no rhyme or reason. I want that just like that. Come back. I need that little top part. See, that's why you make sure you get it right. Okay, Craftiana, make sure everything is coming up. Bam. That's why you peel it from the back. Okay. I'm just going to put this right on the other side. Like that. That's cute. Wham. Peel that off. And I low-key want to put... Would this be cute if I put this right here? I don't know. I should have faced those the other way, but... I don't know. Or is that doing too much? Is that doing too much? I'm not going to put it. Now it's time to put our final coats of epoxy. After that, we take it to our cup turner. So decals are on, popping it back on our turner. We're about to retape this off real quick. Same thing, lining it up, making sure I get right at the edge of that glitter portion and leaving a slight space between that tape and that glitter, just going all the way around. And I'm making sure I keep that nice and neat. We do this between every coat of epoxy we do because we don't want that epoxy all over that glass. it causes a mess, and we don't like no messes. So I'm just going around twisting my turner. My cup turner is from MH Turners. A lot of people ask me that. I believe I said that before and made a dedicated video to it on my social medias account, but who knows? I'm forgetful. I done made a lot of stuff in my day. So we got that taped off. Bam. Good and almost there. Brought it around town. Gonna cut this right here like so, like that. And make sure that's where I want it, because I don't want too much of a gap. And bam. And now we about to mix up some epoxy and put our final coat on. I believe I could get away with one more. Got my epoxy good mixed together. Got turning my cup turner on. Make sure it's the direction I prefer. Everyone prefers something. And spreading this right on top of these decals. Make sure those are covered really well. You want to make sure everything. I'm trying to make this my final coat, so I'm gonna go a little heavier. I mixed together only 15 milliliters of epoxy. For my first coat, I did do 20, and I probably could have got away with 15 for my first coat and 10 for each after, because this isn't that much space to cover because it's not a full glass. And this glitter was pretty smooth on the first initial go around. Make sure you get these bottom decals covered. Get under this bulb. We don't want no dry spots. And we also don't want it to pull up and cake up around here, because that's not cute. Okay, so I'll be back. So I'm giving it a good old torch, and I do torch between every layer, every new coat of epoxy, especially over these decals. We don't want no micro bubbles on top of that. We want it to look clear as possible. So that, and I'm about to remove that tape, let that spin for 2 hours, and it'll be all done, and then I'll be ready for rhinestones. See you then. Craftiana. Okay, so it's good and dry after our final touch. Our final coat of epoxy is dry to the touch. It's not cured yet, so I'm going to take this out, and I'm about to clean this glass before I go with my rhinestones. Just wipe the inside. Ooh, wipe the inside. That looks nice and clean. I got a little tape residue and a little leftover epoxy right there. I'm going to take my craft knife, if I can know where it is. Here it is. And I'm just going to scrape that little epoxy off that guy right there. So if you ever get epoxy where you don't want it to be, it should be pretty easy to scrape off, because it's not super attached to nothing. Up here, that's just glue, that tape residue. So I'm gonna go in with some alcohol, and I'm gonna just clean that up real quick before I go in with my rhinestones. Wait, do I got epoxy up here? I got some up here too. I don't even know how I got under that tape up there, but we don't want that there, okay? So we make sure we scrape that off real good. I don't know if you can see it on camera, but make sure you get it all either, because if you don't get it all, you just leave like little smudges, it will look streaky and make your glass look foggy. And then you want to make sure you dust that off really well. So that looks good. Dust that all the way off. And remember, this is not fully cured yet. Yes, it's dry to the touch and not sticky or anything, but it is not cured yet. Okay, Craftiana? Bam. So let me wipe this with some alcohol. Give it a good old wipe. Good old wipe. And try to use a towel or something that is lint free, because trust me, just use something that's lint free. So I'm gonna let this completely dry before I rhinestone. Be right back. Let me let that dry. So that's good and dry. I'm gonna take this SS16 Light Rose Rhinestone and this Cling the Bling Dazzle Glue, and I'm gonna just put a border all the way around this little edge of whatever, this little border of this wine glass. And I'm gonna make sure, I'm gonna start in the middle, because I want to make sure I have a nice sharp point. So I'm gonna take my glue. Oop, come on, lighting, hold on. Thank you. I'm gonna take my glue. I'm gonna put a dot right here, right in the center, to start me off. Then I'm gonna take it up and around this way. I'm making sure I try to stay on that edge and don't have excess glue everywhere I don't need it to be. Bam, just like so, and just like that. And then I'm gonna take my good old handy dandy wax pencil. I'm just gonna start at this middle point, and we're gonna work our way around. I kind of wish I went in the opposite direction. It would have been a little more comfortable for me. I might end up going that way once I get this little glue line, rhinestones on this glue line that I placed. Because this feels awkward for me. I don't know why I decided to go this way, but, and make sure you don't put too much glue down, because if you press that rhinestone and start spreading everywhere on that glass, that ain't a cute look. We don't want that. Okay, Miss Craftiana? And be sure not to knock your other stones out the way with your finger like I just did, because I tend to do that a lot. And place it directly in the glue and try not to move it like I'm doing. Do as I say, not as I do. Okay, I'm trying to help you out. Wow. I do the complete opposite. But you know, I'm just trying to give you the best outcome, and where you have to do the less cleanup work afterwards. I should have did a neon pink, but I like this color. It don't match the vinyl, but it's all good. It's all good. I still like it. Still looks pretty good to me. Wham. Throw that wham in a circle. Bam. So here's how that is looking. I'm gonna be back when I wrap it all the way around. We almost to the finish line. We just got this one little portion to do. So I'm gonna take this glue and just drag that on down, and make it connect to right there. Wham, wham, bam. Thank you, and the ma'am. Okay. So as we finishing it up, you're gonna wanna let all of this cure before you use it or send it to your customer, because it's not at its strongest potential yet. Okay. So we need that epoxy to be curable. You don't want it wetted. You don't want to use it. You want it safe enough to use. Okay. And do your own research. There are so many different types of epoxies out there and resins out there. Some are food safe. Some are FDA compliant, and some even consider the ones that's FDA compliant, not food safe. So you got to do what your research for yourself. And people need to realize everything is a chemical. Even air we breathe is a chemical. So there are good chemicals out there. There are chemicals that could harm you. You just have to research, Craftiana. So I'm filling in this little gap. And can you see that right there? It's that little bitty gap. And hopefully I can fit two rhinestones right here and I have to space it out. So as you can see, they not perfectly fit, but it got a little space. You just move all of them over just a little bit so it doesn't look like a too noticeable of a gap. So it's just like a little space. And here's the finished product. I'm about to give you a good video of it right now.